guy. You may see him occasionally on the internet. This is that lady. And together we're that internet show. And right now we're smoking. We're standing outside. We've been watching cartoons for some time. I I had what happens to me a lot, right? Like I watch a few really good cartoons on Crunchyroll. New things like the new Frieren, the new Unwanted Undead Adventure, the new uh, Wrong Way to Use Healing Magic, the new Weakest Tamer, Picks Up the Trash, all of which were excellent. But I mean, some of them are more excellent than others, right? I get to the end of those excellent shows and I say, oh, I hate that I can't just watch it all, at once. I have to wait a week for the next episode. So then I go to Crunchyroll's back catalog, which I've already mined the bottom of the barrel there. It's like I'm trying out things that are 4.3 stars, 4.4, hopeful. Maybe if it looks like it's right in my wheelhouse and it's a 4.0, I'll even give it a shot. That's how much at the bottom of the barrel I am for Crunchyroll anime. So then, I return to the barrel and I continue to try to scrape. What's left for me are like older shows, like with Maiden. That show we were watching um, briefly. I don't know if you know which one I'm talking about. It looked like I was
Yes.
guessing
The one that was like,
what year is this look like? And it looked like 2004 to me. You
see, I was thinking like,
late 90s.
yeah. Or I think I was thinking mid 90s.
Hmm. See, I
Because I
think
was comparing it to Ghibli.
I think it had some of the qualities of 90s. Like it kind of had that kind of washed out animation look,
And the car looks so like dated that they're driving in the music.
Oh no, not that show. That show
Oh,
is, I think, older.
okay.
I'm talking about another one
Oh
that
no,
I
then I
watched
don't remember
briefly.
the one.
The one where the guy had a green thing in his hand.
Oh, no, I don't remember.
That one felt to me like 2004. It still had a lot
Okay.
of like the visual qualities of the 90s cartoons, but it was more sophisticated in its drawing and
Oh,
it had like more of like moving toward the contemporary style of anime.
more saturated color.
Mm. Not visually, but
Hmm.
no, not in color, but in terms of like the way the characters were drawn.
Oh, interesting.
They're drawn more like they're drawn these days, and also like the storyline, the inclusion of say a monster that's one part soul, one part machine, one part tragedy. Uh, that's much more in line with kind of contemporary constructions of an anime world, kind of like laws and architecture, than say a 90s world. So, Acacia, good evening and welcome to the time of your life. I don't doubt that you've had good experiences sometime in the past, right? But every single one of them is going to pale in comparison to this experience. Because this promises to be the most powerful experience of your entire life. Why doesn't it have my thumbnail on it? Why doesn't it have my thumbnail on it? After I went to all the trouble to make a thumbnail and everything, upload a thumbnail.
Good evening, Acacia.
I'm gonna change to this other profile now. All right. Then I'll change the thumbnail too in style. Club like. Edit video. Why conservative comedy fails. There's the title of a YouTube video. Is comedy conservative or liberal? if in fact it is assuredly bad comedy.
Well, yeah. Oh my god, this used to be my favorite meme.
Well, I got it from your Instagram, actually.
Did you?
Yeah. The first thing you need to know about is that the internet is amazing. Okay, that's the first thing you need to know. It may even be the only thing you need to know. That's possible.
What shouldn't we bother with?
Oh, right. Why you shouldn't bother with ... I don't have any answer to that. I don't have anything to fill in the ... But I bet other people say, and that's why you shouldn't bother with meow. I'm sure I could think of something that I say that about, but I don't have anything specific in mind right now. I mean, you shouldn't bother getting a flu shot. Why shouldn't you bother getting a flu shot? Well, because it's kind of a crapshoot. Like, only sometimes do they get the flu variant correct and vaccinate for it adequately. And another reason is it's like a toss up as to which is more of a pain in the ass, having the flu or going and getting the flu shot. Why you shouldn't bother with apologizing? Well, you should bother with apologizing when you need to apologize, when you've got a good cause to apologize. I would agree that one shouldn't apologize unless one should apologize, and that there's plenty of instances of people in the world, including to some extent my beloved wife Rachel, who apologize in circumstances where they haven't done anything wrong. That's a very TI perspective on apology that I'm voicing here. Like, I generally parse those kind of things pretty carefully. Like, there's a difference between something that, like admitting that you're wrong. Being wrong requires you to correct yourself, not to apologize. And, like, certain kinds of things I'll apologize for, not because they're a big deal, but because they fall technically under the category of things you can apologize for. Like, let's say I go in a door and let it close behind me, even though Rachel's behind me. I will apologize for that, even though I don't think I did anything hugely wrong. I feel as inconsiderate, and therefore an apology is fine. But if I guess I'm much more cautious about apologizing probably when I feel as though somebody's coming to me feeling as though I've wronged them in some way. Then I need to evaluate if I have. Sometimes also, well, I apologize to Rachel a lot when I disappeared the other day without leaving a note saying where I was. Primarily, I felt most apologetic about it because she called me and my phone's ringer was turned down all the way. I couldn't hear it. I didn't notice that she had called, and I felt really bad about that because I'd freak out if she disappeared and I couldn't get in contact with her. Acacia says, why you shouldn't bother with finishing your live stream title. Excellent conclusion to that. This is exactly why I shouldn't bother with finishing it. Because it allows others to help me finish it in a world of hypotheticals. Hello, Ananova 5. You're back. Long time no see. Long time no see. I don't remember when last time you were around was, but I'll take your word for it that it was a long time ago. So we did our errands today. They were pretty important errands. We got them all done, and accordingly, we've been high-fiving for hours before starting this stream. We got gravel, check. 4 bags, check. We got our envelope mailed that we needed to mail.
Mm-hmm.
We went to Subway, and we additionally got Rachel's Clonopin. So those were all the things we needed to do today. I also double checked and made sure that Delilah had sent what she had to send to the real estate thing. She had to send a deposit and maybe some paperwork or something. Engagement farming is a key to YouTube success. Were you going to say something, my darling?
No, it wasn't important.
What? You're pregnant? I think that's pretty important, Rachel.
Oh my god, that would be.
It would be something. It would be, we both, I think, Macaulay Culkin.
Ah!
Yeah.
Oh my god, I would. I really would. I actually feel my period coming.
Really?
Mm-hmm, I do. I have my period in 8 days.
Mm. It's coming. Right now, your uterus lining is drooping like leaves on the trees in autumn. Oh.
I keep on coming up with like practical why you shouldn't bother. It's like why you shouldn't bother lying to the cops.
Why you shouldn't bother lying to the cops is a tricky one. There are occasions when you should bother with lying to the cops, but I guess you're better off remaining silent.
Yeah. If they ask you a question, I don't know. I just feel like it's better if you.
It depends what you've done.
So like if they do a background check, they specifically like if there's any like past crimes, just own up to it and be like, yeah, I have.
Well, yeah. Look, I mean, there's no point in lying to the cops about something they can easily determine whether or not you're
that's
lying.
That's what I mean. That's what I really mean. Like, don't lie to them about your criminal past because they can pull it up very quickly, and then you're stuck.
Well, Acacia says I think shouldn't bother lying to doctors. Yeah, I haven't really lied at all to the doctor. No, I guess I fudged things a little bit when he asked me how I'm doing regarding taking them as prescribed. Position, I'm doing a better job of that than I actually am. But, it's like, I wonder, like, if I were on 60 milligrams a day, would I not take extra, or would I just do the same thing? Just like, go, oh, well, I got 60 pills, so now I'll take 4 of these today. I don't know. I'm inclined to think the second choice. I'm inclined to think that you could not prescribe me enough Adderall that a bottle of it would last me a month unless they prescribed me like, 600 pills or something.
That's expensive. Wow.
Then I probably wouldn't burn through that in a month, but I might, I might very well just start smoking them and
Yeah.
same. In case you knows where I'm coming from, huh? I used to lie to my doctors when I was using heroin. I'd tell them, no, I don't use drugs. Yeah, well, you gotta manage. As doctors function as gatekeepers for stuff, your job, your job is to be a key, right, to the gate. It's not. Dr. Ingram's a special circumstance. I trust him. He's smart enough and intentionally like me enough. I respect him enough. It's different.
You noticed that I was acting different, and you said that I was smoking weed, and that I had just smoked weed like a lot before.
Right? You?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah.
had just taken some bong rips, and then I sat down to meet with him. I didn't think anything of it, but he noticed that I was better, and we didn't lie.
Right. He's a special circumstance. In general, I'm not necessarily going to. I'm not necessarily going to be honest with gatekeepers unless I respect that I need to be gate kept in that area. So, like, um, I can't really think a lot about. I can't really think of any examples where I think I ought to be gate kept, but well, I guess ultimately I don't necessarily hate that I have limited access to Adderall. Um, for me, it's like Adderall represents a healthier, more sustainable alternative to the meth I was once addicted to. So things that help keep it that, namely limited supply, I have kind of a love hate relationship with. It's like I don't trust myself to have an unlimited supply, and yet I don't like necessarily, just sort of inherently don't like external constraints like that. So it's a toss up, as they say in Italy.
That's
If
what they say in Italy.
if I would have had to have undergone surgery at that time, I would have been honest with the anesthesiologist.
Mm,
Yeah, that would have been
yeah,
important,
yeah.
or else you would have been feeling every cut and dice and stab. Uh, the drugs I do, I don't think they necessarily. Like, I don't think they're necessarily relevant to medical professionals in really any particular context. Weed and Adderall and mushrooms or whatever. I don't think it's very relevant to anything.
No.
You were gonna
You
say
don't
something?
like you don't think that you're not upset that mushrooms don't and I don't jive all the time, right?
No. I
Okay.
don't know where you get the idea that I want you to take drugs with me.
don't know. Some people do. I'm
Like,
glad that you don't, because then I don't feel any pressure. Like,
well, and I'm learning that I can't even want that for instrumental reasons. Like, you know, I thought, oh, okay, well, Rachel's kind of on the fence about Merced, but she seems determined to go. Why don't I give her some Adderall, and then that'll make her mood positive and good and stuff. But it really didn't. You know, you you still didn't really want to go, but now you were kind of gacked out and teeth clenchy, and it didn't really help. So,
well, it helped like during it, for a while, and then I just got tired again, and I got cranky.
yeah, I mean, it might have been better than you going without Adderall, but neither option was
No,
better than you
no.
staying here. You staying here
Sorry,
would have been
I feel
preferable,
bad
you know?
for that. I'm sorry. See, that I should apologize for. Like, I do feel bad about that. Like, that sucked. I'm
It was
sorry.
fine, darling. It wasn't miserable or anything. It got pretty chill once we got there and everything, you know?
Okay.
We had a bit
That's
of
how I
a
felt. I felt, and you were good.
we had a bit of a rough
Mm.
go at the beginning. I don't even remember what happened.
I don't either. Well, we
But
drove through fog, and then something else happened, and
oh right, and then I tried to pull over to go pee and ran up on
oh
that curve a
yeah.
little bit. It seems like a cursed night. But anyhow, um,
What
what
doesn't kill you make you strong.
well, what I'm really thinking is I would love to see you not make yourself do things that you don't really want to do.
It's so hard for me to know because I really want to be there.
Well, um, it's like I'm planning in this upcoming instance to film it rather than stream it, I guess. It's hard. It's a tough call to make, film or stream. Did you film it?
I
Oh,
did
you did
film
film
it.
it.
Yeah, I
It,
wanted you to check actually the Google Photos to make sure that's in there.
that's my FE talking. I mean, it's not just my FE talking, Astafasta. I would rather go by myself than go with Grumpy
Yeah,
Rachel.
yeah.
Okay,
And I don't want to ruin his
maybe I'm
time.
being selfish
I
in that
don't want to
regard, and
be.
that's
I don't want
FI.
to be the.
But
I don't want to be the ruiner of something that you could be like super excited about. Who wants that?
oh, you were
I should
talking to
be
Rachel.
treating
Astafasta
myself.
was talking to Rachel. I see.
Yeah, it is Effie.
You
Of
know,
course
sure.
it
Yeah,
is.
sure. But for me, it's also FE too. It's like it's also the case. I genuinely want Rachel
You
to do
do.
what Rachel
You
wants to
do.
do,
And I'm not in
and
touch.
not to put herself out in ways that ultimately are
It's
going to make her
it's
uncomfortable to do
very.
things that I want to do.
It's so conflicting though, because like, oh my god. Of course, I'd rather be there with you, but it's best if I'm feeling a certain way that I take a beat and think if it's a good idea if I go or not. I may want to go. I may genuinely want to go, but like, what's like best for me?
Yeah, like, are you feeling it?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, am I feeling it?
Are
Exactly. I
you
don't think it's very hard for me to.
are you feeling it is indeed a tough question to answer. But additionally, uh, it's a tricky heuristic to apply because there are also plenty of instances where you're not necessarily feeling something, but you make yourself go and it turns out great, right?
Yeah, of course.
So this is the challenge with that's the whole thing is it's knowing your subjectivities, right? Am I physically up for this? Am I emotionally up for this?
Yeah.
Am I going to still be that way a couple hours from now? Those subjectivities are tough to anticipate, for both of us. Are you feeling is FI domain, I think? Who, me? Or you mean
the saying, are you feeling it? Like, and then.
Oh, are you feeling it?
Yeah.
Use quotation marks after pasta so I can understand a lot.
We determined that Britney Spears has Tiffany energy.
Thank you, Sebastian. Why you shouldn't bother with people who stress you out.
Ooh! That is a good one. You get a wonder point. How do you know who's stressing you out?
What if the person who stresses you out is your boss? You kind of have to bother.
That is so fucking tough.
You have to bother.
I know personally someone in my life that stresses me out, but
See, I read that as, are you feeling as an FI domain, I think? Or am I feeling?
Me?
Yeah, I read that as a question, right? Instead of are you feeling it is FI domain, I think. I read it as, are you feeling it is FI domain, I think.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't in quotation.
Right, yeah. Are stress and distress the same thing? No. I think not. I do understand it now. I would say that distress is distress is some sort of conflict between expectations and reality. It may be as simple as I expect to be treated kindly or decently anyway, and people are treating me mean, being mean to me. That's going to cause distress. It could be I expect to remember the time of my doctor's appointment, and especially when I put it on my calendar, and that I forgot, it falsified an assumption I didn't think was in question, ergo, ontological distress. Stress, on the other hand, can be exactly what one anticipates and not indicative of something bad necessarily. Some, things that are distressing are obviously also stressful, but not everything that's stressful is distressing. If you're in a late crunch at work trying to get things done, it might be stressful, but if you get it done, it won't be distressing. I think distress is always bad, and stress is not. And the thing to say here is I'm saying I would prefer the terms to be used like that. I'm not saying that if you look up in a dictionary these two terms, that's the distinction you'll see between them. I'm not sure about that. Distress has a lot of different meanings. Like when you say damsel in distress, that means that they're in immediate physical peril usually, or an immediate temporary peril that can be completely and forever resolved by, say, untying her from the train tracks.
Yeah, because she's distressed.
Well, in that instance, she may be experiencing ontological distress, but she's in distress means something different in that context. It means like there's an emergency need to save.
Yeah. Like that. I always think of damsel in distress.
Right. So what I would say is distress as I'm using it does not link necessarily to that ticking clock, train coming down the tracks, you're tied to the train tracks kind of distress, but rather to I'm talking about ontological distress. Obviously, that lady's feeling a great deal of panic and ontological distress given her circumstances. But even that kind of distress is kind of secondary to the actual ontological distress she'll experience thereafter as she tries to come to terms with this um, kidnapping by a mustachioed villain who tied her to a train tracks. Train coming, she thought she was gonna die and being rescued the last second. She's gonna have some serious PTSD after that, right? So it's that aftermath part that's the kind of distress I'm talking about, not under immediate threat of physical harm distress. And regardless,
some clothes are distressed.
Yeah, well, also shabby chic furniture is distressed.
Yeah, it is.
I undistressed this table.
Yeah, you did.
Fortunately, that distressing was easy to take to undistress. You just wiped right off. Distress or that dress, party dress, ooh. Distress or that dress, party dress, ooh, that one, the green lime dress. Distress or that dress, party dress. This dress or that dress is hard to say and sing.
This dress or that dress.
Yeah.
Party dress.
Yeah. Taro lime, a new color.
Taro lime.
So I introduced Rachel to a new tarot thing
Yeah.
today that she didn't know
We
about.
should play that.
You want to play one card tarot?
Mm-hmm.
There's this website that we went to earlier called like Random Tarot. It just does major arcanas. Tarot. I googled tarot cards that you can pull online. That was my search term, and this one had a pretty picture.
That's how it looks on the original Rider Waite.
Really?
Yeah.
Let's take a look, everybody. Let's take a liggity look at the excitement that we'll have in front of us when we look with our looking eyes. There it is. Bold, resplendent in red. Looks orange on your screen, but it's actually quite red. Pow! This is the overall card for this whole session, okay? For this sesh. The card is the Hierophant. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to make it go like that and then go like that. Now we got a new one. Now, who we're going to do first? We're going to do Men Like Gods. What tarot card do you get, Men Like Gods? Pow! Death. Now these cards, remember, they only pull major arcana. They don't give you any minor arcana. I kind of like that, frankly.
It's a good way of learning.
Well, I would point out that even though there's death, this guy is still doing stuff. This baby is going to get stepped on by a horse.
She's just like passed out. You know, like exhausted from like the realization that death is there. She's not necessarily dead yet.
She's like, oh no.
Yeah,
Death.
exactly.
This guy's dead. So, Men Like Gods, I'm sorry about that. But you got the death card. Remember, with each death comes a brand new rebirth. That's right. Okay, so now Hero Lamb. Oh, wait. Acacia called second. All right. Acacia, you get second. Fine. Acacia, your card is the moon.
That's your face in the moon.
No, this is Acacia right here. This lobster.
Oh, the lobster.
She's
The
embraced
lobster's
Jordan
Acacia.
Peterson.
Yes.
She's been watching a lot of Jordan Peterson, and now she's ready to go eat these two dogs. Congratulations, Acacia. And it's all thanks to the lobster empowering rays of the moon. Okay. So Acacia gets the moon card, and I believe she earned it. Next we have Diamond. Diamond. Let's find out what card you get. Pew! The magician. You
As
got,
above, so below.
what you'll notice here is this guy is so good with candles that he's got a candle that's got a flame coming out of
No.
each end.
It's supposed to be selenite wand.
Selenite wand?
Yeah.
What's that?
It's like selenite is like a mineral of some sort.
Hmm. Is it a white mineral?
Uh-huh.
Well, good for him and his selenite wand. I prefer to interpret it as he's so
Okay.
magical that he can make candles burn in either
Both
direction.
I like that too. I don't mean to correct you. That was like negative.
Oh, that's
Sorry.
fine, darling. You can correct me all you want. Now,
and he has all four suits. He has a pentacle, a cup,
a sword,
and
and
a
stick.
rod.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like Kim Jong Un, he points at things, but unlike Kim Jong Un, he looks at something else.
Yeah, he's kind of looking at you.
He's looking straight ahead.
Yes.
You think you understand what's going on here? I'm about to blow your mind.
The magician.
All right. We're going to meow the meow as per meow. And we're going to meow the meow. So,
Who's next?
Hero Lamb, I believe, is next. We just did. Who did we just do? Was that Diamond?
Yeah, that was Diamond.
Okay, so now we're going to do Hero Lamb. Then we'll do New Groove. Okay?
Okay.
Hero Lamb. You get the Hero Fant. So, what this means is you are sitting in this chair and you've got this stick thing. And these two bald guys are two brothers who have come to admire your golden stick. And you're saying, look, you can look for, how many fingers do you have up? 3, 4?
2.
2. You can look for 2 more minutes at my golden stick, and then you have to go.
Do you think he has the same haircut underneath there?
You mean as these guys?
Mm-hmm.
No, I think his hair is actually exactly the same shape as his hat.
I like that.
Yeah.
How magical.
He fitted the hat specifically to the hair. Now, the real question is, does he keep the hair exactly fitted to the hat? Or does he frequently have hats remade as his hair changes shape?
Which one's more royal?
Well, what's more like regular kind of fascist, hero fans rules thing is that he rigorously trims his hair into exactly this shape every morning.
He has a stylist.
Or yeah, he has maybe a bureaucrat whose job it is to shape his hair, a bureaucrat barber. Anyway, I like your robe, Hero Lamb. I think it's long,
Mm.
flowing,
Mm-hmm.
red, and lovely. And I think it matches, or not matches, but it goes good with this white part.
And the white part goes with his shoes. Look at that.
Yeah, matching shoes too. So sure, maybe the scarf, the blue scarf's a little bit of a questionable fashion call, but maybe it's cold.
I think it is cold.
Uh,
It looks. Look at those statues next to him. The columns. They look pretty cold. Like.
yeah.
Mm.
Oh, you know what that is? I think it's a COVID mask,
It could
and
be.
he's showing that he's breaking the COVID rules, even though he's the politician who's making them.
Wow.
Just like today. So here, Lamb, you keep breaking those COVID rules, and know that I will be proud of you. Next is New Groove. New Groove, New Groove. Ready for me to prove the wisdom of the tarot to you? CIA, where have you been conducting your secret societal shenanigans? New Groove, here you go. The Lovers.
Ooh la la.
As you can see on this card, this is heteronormative, okay? So, accordingly, you may or may not identify with these two. These two naked people, they are going to conjoin with one another for the purpose of what's sometimes called love and sometimes called physical intimacy. This person up in the sky appears to be an angel with Christmas hair. Anyway, Christmas hair angel is like, I'm about ready to slap this slut if she doesn't put some clothes on because she's really judgy. But look, she's not going to slap the dude. She's kind of looks like she's reaching for a dong a little bit. So, anyway, the sun is very big behind them all. And then there's this mountain here, a very suggestive mountain. Mount Suggestion, I believe it's called. This lady looks like she kind of wants to touch it. Ah, and there's a snake in the apple tree, just like the Garden of Eden. But there's no snake in this flower tree because it must be not in the Garden of Eden. So I guess after they make love, they have to go walk over onto this volcano. That's the story for you today, New Group. And the story for me today is this: the moon. Again, I got this earlier too. So there you have it, everybody. I hope everyone's incredibly satisfied with their with their uh, with their tarot readings and my fine interpretation of how those things apply to your life, how and why you should know everything is what. What did I push that was there before? I don't know, it just moved a little bit. Never mind. Thanks, Diamond. Thanks. I've been training in the off season. That's why I'm getting a little bit better at this.
So, I have a question. There's apparently a perfume that tastes just like peach rings.
You mean smells?
Yeah, that smells just like peach rings.
It's a good smell.
Yeah, I'm wondering, like, do I take my love of peach rings to that level?
I mean,
If it's like
I'd say yes.
cool, all right, then next
Sure, next month, this upcoming month.
Yes,
We're coming up on the 1st pretty quick.
I will get, if it's decently priced, I will get that perfume.
Okay.
And see if it actually tastes, because she just swears it tastes like, smells like peach rings.
Yeah. Try not to taste your perfume.
No.
I bet you it doesn't taste like peach rings.
I bet it doesn't.
Indeed, I learned I should put clothes on more often, even when going to bed. Why? So that if you have to get up and go somewhere in the middle of the night, you don't have to take time getting dressed. Not sure. It's just what I gleaned from the tarot reading. Oh.
Oh, like those two people could.
But you didn't get a tarot first loss. I didn't do one for you. Let's do it right now.
Yeah, first last.
Reopen close tab. Yeah. All right, first last, you get the Empress. Ooh la la, you're the Empress. What does the Empress have going for her? Let's take a look. As you can see, first of all, she's got a very generously clothed, I guess, flower print dress.
It's supposed to have pomegranates.
Oh,
on
pomegranates on it. Okay. She's got a box of Valentine's Day chocolates with the female symbol on the top of it.
Mm-hmm.
She's got a luxurious orange chair with a red cushion oddly placed not behind her back, but behind the chair. And some red draperies that the chair is seated atop of.
Yes. And it looks like there's wheat on the bottom of the card.
She's sitting in a circle, a crop circle maybe, in a wheat field. And behind her, a stream flows through a forest and drops down into presumably a river, maybe a lake. Hard to say. A lovely scene made strangely odd and frightening by only the banana yellow sky, which one can only attribute to perhaps extremely heavy smog at sunset.
Those trees kind of look like they're bending a little bit. Like maybe there's a breeze of some sort. Not the most cloudy looking ones, but the background ones.
No, yeah, I got you. The background ones, they do look like they're bending. They all go in the same direction.
Yeah.
Now, she's gone ahead and said, I'm not skimping on my headwear. I'm going to get a hat that's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 stars on it.
Wow.
13 stars. I've got a scepter in my hand. And, it's a truncated scepter, so it's not so heavy. It's easy for me to hold. That represents her chopping off the penis of men. That's why she's the Empress. Her power represents the emasculation of the man. Archetypally, I mean. I don't mean literally, just archetypally. You've been having back problems. That's the power of the tarot.
Yeah, you need a cushion. That's what it's telling you.
Here I am. No, those were not mini-sized people at the bottom. Those were wheats, like Rachel said. Okay, those were wheats. But I like the idea of miniature people down there.
I don't know.
You know what I think? Maybe you're right. Maybe they were miniature people. They were just disguised as wheats.
That's a good disguise.
Yeah, it was very convincing. But anyway, she's the Queen of Queens. Yeah. That puts her in charge of all of the males except for the Emperor. So a lot of the males kind of resent that. They're like, Hey, lady, you bruised my ego with your empowerment. And, I hate to say it, but oh my god, that lady, the Empress, is a bitch. Why? Because she, tells me what to do and stuff. That's because she's an Empress. She's always represented as docile. What Empress has ever been docile? Empresses are, what's the word? Imperious. You know, how dare the Duke of Cornwall look down on me like that? Bring him to the Tower of London that I may chop off his head. That's like a British empress called a queen. But a queen could have been called the empress when Britain had a large empire. But they didn't change her name from queen to empress just because they had an empire. They said, hey, this emperor might be temporary. Let's not jump the gun and call her an empress. But if you're gonna be an empress who's docile, you're not gonna sustain your empire very long. Imperial regimes require a certain ruthless practicality, if nothing else. Hmm. Well, it's been a good day. Bit of a mixed day, maybe in some sense. I found this morning's live streaming to be rather gratifying because I seem to get quite a few people there, at least for some stretches of it, and consistently slightly better numbers than I normally get. I seem to be maybe garnering some little bit of steam with live stream audiences. I'm not sure why. Could just be I'm live streaming a lot. I don't know. But I also felt like a little conflicted about, I guess, the whole Conman thing. I don't mean to upset him. It's like I don't know what to do in that circumstance exactly. I assume that people put things in the chat for me to read and respond to in some way. I spend some amount of time ignoring certain things, but I don't know. I gotta say, I really like the term. I think Carlos probably used it this morning. Mud words, words like neoliberalism and populism, using uh, sort of politicized, mm, politicized theory, sometimes linked to identity stuff, sometimes not, but politicized theory that just uses these kind of terms of art um, but it's all just the same thing. It's a big reification fallacy. Blaming things like post-industrial society for whatever. And the tendency to want to deal with things in terms of like those terms of art, I guess. Vagaries, mud words, rather than in some other way. I don't know quite how to respond to that in a way that's it's not going to be. Can you?
I'm sorry.
It's okay. Fidget spinner.
I'm gonna get some salami and cheese. Would you like some?
No, thank you. I would not like some salami and cheese. Instead, I would like to stand here with my hands in my pockets.
Can I give you a kiss on the cheek?
Of course, my darling. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Let me see. Is there a lipstick spot? No,
No.
I don't see one. I guess you must gotten some of that lipstick that doesn't come off on things.
I'm surprised. If there might be a little bit of like a gloss on your cheek.
If you want to prove to me that your lipstick doesn't come off on things, don't check it on like a napkin or whatever, like they do in the commercial. Check it on a coffee cup or like maybe a cigarette butt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or a joint.
I have my coffee cup has marks from my lips.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not transfer proof.
2 hands in your pocket, the third one is smoking. Actually, I went back to just having 2 arms. I did try out the third arm extruding from the middle of my chest for a while, but ultimately I kept banging my hand into things, and I said it's not worth it. All this pain, all these bruises. I'm just gonna go back to 2 arms. Maybe if I started with 3 arms really little, it would have been fine, but I didn't. So we got things in the work with this property down the street. That causes me stress, but not distress, you know. I'm a little worried about the foundation crack on that one side. I'm thinking we can get that crack repaired and probably prevent it from expanding. I'd also note that that really only represents sort of the foundation. I'm assuming there's a concrete flat part underneath somewhere there. I don't know that for sure, but so a funny remark. Someone told this chick, "Would you please put out that cigarette?" And she's like, "Maybe I put it out on your face." I like that. Yeah, I accidentally punching stuff all the time. You know, sometimes it was appropriate stuff like a punching bag. Other times, very inappropriate stuff like a baby lamb. So, yeah. I mean, the baby lamb was a lot tougher than I expected. It fought back. I got my ass kicked. So, you know, I still felt bad about punching the lamb. After all, I am the one who compels him to self-defend and introduced him to a world of violence he'll never turn back from. Feeling kind of run down, but not bad. I do feel a little stressed about the house down the street.
Me too.
They were doing a septic inspection earlier today. We saw them digging up the front yard. It appears that they're not done. They have to come back. So they left this sort of open pit-looking pile of dirt thing with a caution tape around it that they had put some sticks around it and put caution tape around the sticks. I'm assuming that's not the end of their process. They probably put the dirt back or whatever before they're done. The fact that it's not the end of their process makes me a little bit concerned. What is your opinion on incompatible type pairings? I think they say an INTJ and ISFJ are not compatible, for instance. Do you think relationships work like this in real life? Well, I think it is the case that there are fundamental incompatibilities between two individuals linked to their types. They can, in very few circumstances, be overcome. And in such circumstances where they can be overcome, probably should not be overcome. So, for example, our friends in LA, she's an ESTJ, he's an ISTP. They're not going to stay together beyond the high school graduation of the kids. At this point, they can barely stand each other. Her third slot, NE, carrying on endlessly without having any point or singular resolution or determinate thing. In other words, weighing a bunch of possibilities without distinguishing between them for significance or relevance is no doubt driving him crazy. She feels like she can't talk to her husband at all without him rolling his eyes and whatever. It's very tense between them at this point. They're just typologically incompatible. Now, it's also the case that I've seen typologically incompatible people have very happy, long relationships. So, my mom was an ISFJ, my dad was an ESTJ. They were married for God knows how long, right? Like decades and decades. I don't know, like 60 years or something. Not that many years. Well, yeah, maybe. I think they got married at 25 or something. Yeah, so over 60 years. Anyway, did they have a happy marriage? Yes. Did they really understand each other or anything? I mean, I don't know. Not really. They had a very practical kind of understanding of a successful life, you know? My mom wanted to do what she wanted to do. My dad wanted to do what he wanted to do. They sort of compromised. And I think my mom felt very much in good hands with my dad's TE. And I think my dad felt in good hands with my mom's SI. The FE thing was sometimes a point of, I guess, not conflict, but the two of them not seeing eye to eye at all, understanding the world past each other. With my mom being embarrassed because my dad's social failures, and my dad, getting hit in his defensive spot, but just kind of like, feeling embarrassed and or trying to adjust, not really having the tools exactly. But I don't know. They worked out, right? My friend Dave Porter, he's an ISFJ. His woman's an ISFP. They seem to have a good relationship. Nevertheless, there's a certain amount of her rolling her eyes at him. You know, I don't think Rachel and I ever do that. We don't roll our eyes at each other or say things like, here you go again with your habit of meowing, right? We don't say things like that to each other or about each other or whatever. So the thing is, it depends on the two individuals, and it also needs to be included in the question not whether two individuals of incompatible types can have a happy relationship, but also whether they should try. So, if it is in fact the case that um, type compatibility and incompatibility plays out like I think, which is it makes it harder or easier to have a healthy, happy relationship with somebody, um, not possible or impossible, then there's a certain point at which it's probably ill advised for you to try to climb such a steep hill when you could get with somebody who's a much less steep hill. To be in a happy, sort of criticism free, mutually affirming relationship, there have to be some areas of value compatibility. I mean, put it this way: value compatibility is going to have some impact on that. If not dramatic. You know, my dad didn't respect me very much because he was selfish in his innie, so didn't think people who got made their way with expert intuition that was better than his. Well, being kind of childish in your third and selfish in it, you're not going to afford a lot of respect to that, right? Concurrently, his critical parent, Six Slut SE, was very critical of my bad SE. And my TE was subject to his TE critique of the TE Dom and fell short all the time. He hit me right where he could successfully hit me all the time, you know. Doesn't mean he didn't love me. It just means it's hard to have a good relationship with somebody who's intentionally configured not to respect you. So, for example, then, is beneficiary, benefactor a good pairing for a romantic relationship? I don't think so. Fly guy. Are you shitting on cursive writing? Oh my god. I played golf with Dulles in a dream once? Did I? I don't remember that dream. Maybe it was Dulles' dream. And what comes to parenting? What do you think about a mother ESFP and INTP son relationship? I think I'm not understood most of the time I'm the INTP. Well, ESFP, INTP, let me see if I can figure out what that's like ENTP and ISFP, right? Well, regarding those two types, I think contextually, when the two are together, one of the two feels like the only adult in the room. But as the context shifts, that may switch, and the other one feels like the only adult in the room. So, like, if I'm hanging out with an ISFP and we encounter something that requires FISE stuff, I'm going to feel completely ill equipped, at a loss, and I'll sort of recognize their expertise and I'll feel like the only child in the room. If if the circumstance requires NTP stuff, then they're likely to feel the same. ESFP, INTP are conflicting relations in socionics. Is it the same as ISFP, INTP, Rachel? Yes, well, that's exactly what happens. Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that my answer resonated with your experience. Of course, it's a challenge if it's your parent, right? Because ideally, you want your parent to be the adult in the room all the time and you to be the child. I felt like that, with a few exceptions, for most of my life, well into adulthood, that my parents were and had always been real adults, and I never really had been, and probably never really would be. Well, we don't know Fly Guy, but I don't need to know that she actually is for me to answer a question about how ESFP and INTP would play out. That it resonates with his experience is consistent with him being correct, but we don't need to establish definitively that he's correct about the pairings, about the two people involved in this relationship, to answer questions about the relationship as though they are correctly typed, because it's the answer is correct to the two types, and so there's no chance of wrongness generalizing out. ISFP. ISFPs. ISFPs are cool. I mean, nobody really dislikes ISFPs, but conversations with them, from my perspective, they're dependent on the inertia. They're dependent on me sustaining the forward momentum, which isn't a big challenge for me or anything. Obviously, as evidenced by the fact that I'm here live streaming yet again, I can yammer on endlessly about whatever. I bet a lot of channel people would be surprised how much quieter I am IRL than when I'm on the stream. Recently, I drive around. A lot of times, we drive around in silence. Like on the way out to town, we had some good conversation, good laughs about Britney Spears, the Four Season Hotel, being like Tiffany turned to real life. I don't know if you guys heard, but she's been once again temporarily banned from the Four Seasons Hotel for bizarre and annoying behavior. But yet insisting on lounging around the pool topless. And as I was saying to Rachel earlier, I picture her like by the pool. There are a couple guys in suits who are walking through the pool on the way to their conference or whatever. And she's like, "Hi guys!" She's got like no top on, right? "I'm Brittany." And they're like, "Hi, Brittany. We gotta go to our conference now." "Oh, you guys don't wanna hang out?" And then, they leave. And she turns around to go back to her lounge chair, walking like this, And she's just like, "Oh, is that your little baby? Oh my God, it's so cute." She like puts her hands on its face. And the parents are standing there all appalled. And eventually, of course, the Four Seasons receives multiple complaints about Britney Spears. Multiple complaints about Britney's bizarre and annoying behavior. Miss Spears, you really need to put on a top, okay? "What? I can't lost my top. I can't find it. Hey, free the nipple. Four Seasons guy." No, that's Tiffany. Okay, you're a fly guy. Tiffany is Eric's ESFP doll puppet. Britney Spears. I was reading about her in the paper today. I'm just imagining scenarios that led to this TMZ-ish reporting and how she got banned from the Four Seasons again temporarily. Obviously, the Four Seasons are like, okay, well, she spends a lot of money here, but on the other hand, so do a lot of other people, and she's being so Britney all the time. I'm not sure quite what to do with it. "I met the sweetest guys with a paw at the Four Seasons! Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point." Meanwhile, there's two guys in the business suit. Their social media posts is very different. It's like, "Oh my God, Britney Spears accosted us topless at the pool today." That's how I'm imagining it going down. So, anyhow. She also had a post up today, or there was a story about her today, how she was wearing these weird leg braces in bed. At first, people were like, "Is she hurt? Did she get in a car crash or something?" But then she posted on Instagram, that she'd been dancing for 5 hours yesterday. And then her friend brought her these magical leg restoring leg braces that help your legs to recover after you dance using compressed air somehow. And, my exact thoughts were, "Oh, Brittany." I don't think she's bad, Brittany, exactly. I just think she's like oblivious, Brittany. I'm sure she didn't mean any harm by going topless at the pool at the Four Seasons. I think she just thought that everyone would be delighted to see her being Brittany and like, exposing herself, I guess. On some level she probably thinks, "Well, who wouldn't want to see my tits? I'm British Bears. And they're spectacular." I'm doing everybody here a favor. I think that's probably what she thinks. But you know, hopefully, hopefully she will learn to moderate her behavior somewhat, get invited back to the Four Seasons. Business people can appreciate topless ladies in different settings. Why do they care what she does? It's her life. Well, I mean, the Four Seasons care because their other customers are complaining about it. Why do I care? I find it interesting. I don't know. I was on Google News. A headline caught my eye. I clicked it. Why is Britney banned from the Four Seasons? You know, and I read about it. I don't doubt that Britney's odd behavior is representative of some sad underlying realities that, you know, big time stardom for a lot of people who experience it creates kind of odd people, you know. And she spent a lot of time under a conservatorship in Vegas. The norms in Vegas are a little different than they are in Los Angeles. And she's also seems to be feeling like she's making up for lost time and stuff. I get it. She's going to make some mistakes or whatnot. And yes, there are some sad realities underlying the facts. But remember, this is a woman who is traveling from her $7 million home in Los Angeles to spa and lunch and whatever at the Four Seasons all the time. So she may be a little unhinged in some ways, but at least she's unhinged in style. Well, I like her hits. I think they were good songs. I mean, obviously a lot better than the pop stars that haven't been remembered at all. I'm much less surprised by Britney's massive success, for example, than I am by Taylor Swift's ongoing success and somehow becoming like the most famous person in the world. Because as far as I'm concerned, she quit making music like decades ago. Apparently she's been making albums the whole time, but they haven't been registering on my radar at all. And then all of a sudden, she's probably the most famous pure celebrity in the world right now. Seems like. If she goes to a Chiefs game, which she does every Chiefs game now, they will have at least one dead minimum, and almost certainly more than that, shots of Taylor Swift in the whatever it's called, like luxury box, and like, especially if Travis Kelce does something good, they cut immediately to Taylor Swift's reaction. That there's not another person who could go to a football game that would elicit that kind of coverage in the stands from the football broadcast. I can't think of anybody. Even if the president went there, they might cut to him a couple of times, maybe once, but
maybe twice.
Yeah, maybe twice to remind everybody that he's there. But even then, it wouldn't be to show his reaction. It would just be like to remind them that the president's there. It's like people want to see how Taylor Swift responds to Travis Kelce doing something.
Mm-hmm.
They might cut to her 4 or 5 times during the game, depending on how big a game Kelsey's having.
And if they didn't show her reaction, people would complain.
Yeah, people want to see it, right?
kind of thinking of like doing what we did last night and like have something a little bit eat like at 8 something so that when I go to bed I'm not.
Oh yeah, eat something then.
So I'm trying to think like should I make? Would you want another half of a bagel?
I mean, I could eat it, but you could also eat a whole bagel, which has 2 halves.
No.
If you don't want to eat a whole bagel, I'll eat a half of it, sure.
Are you sure?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Same thing for me. It'll help me not get hungry during the night.
Yeah.
Carolyn says Ed Sheeran is her male version. He's even blander, but he was like #1 music listened to artist on the charts. Yeah, well, I guess there's something to be said for blandness, polished blandness. I don't think if Taylor Swift is necessarily bland. I think she's probably a better songwriter than Ed Sheeran, but I just don't understand. Like, she's not good enough by any stretch of the imagination to have the size of audience she has if size of audience correlated with quality. So I guess what she has going for her is she's managed her image very successfully and carefully throughout her career. She's never lost that kind of girl next door, good girl thing. And she's not been involved in a lot of scandals or whatever. I think she might even be deemed America's sweetheart by some people.
Probably.
I think that's a nickname for her, maybe.
Yeah, for sure.
So that sort of squeaky clean, that's the kind of girl America's proud of, kind of thing that she's going for. Helps to explain why she's such a huge star, because, of course, it makes her very appealing to advertisers, and she does advertisements, for like some credit card or whatever.
Yeah.
That's one I can remember. She may be in other advertisements too.
I think that's the only one.
Oh, okay. I wonder how much they offered her. I must have paid her a lot.
Sure, a lot. And to have good FE, it was like a deal where if you sign up for the card, you're entered to win a thing to meet
Taylor Swift.
Yeah. So.
Well, I'm surprised she hasn't gone into acting.
She did. She went when Cats turned into a movie. She was in that movie.
Cats?
Mm-hmm. I know.
I'm Taylor Swift. I want to segue into acting. I'm looking for the perfect role, perfect vehicle, maybe a supporting role. And the movie's going to be a critic's darling, so I can sort of get rubbed off onto me, the goodness of the movie onto my performance. I know, Cats. No, Taylor Swift, that's a terrible decision. What a horrible career decision.
Thanks, Acacia.
And I take it she's not been in anything since. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm sure the movie version of Cats was terrible.
It was. It was.
Because after all, I'm pretty sure the play version of Cats is terrible.
It's terrible.
Acacia likes your sweater color. Well, she likes your sweater and the color too.
Yes, I'm glad she does. Thank you, Acacia.
So, anyway, I think Taylor Swift did make a mistake getting herself cast in Cats. Was she like widely panned for her performance or something?
I don't know.
But I think she should give it another shot. and she needs to consult with me about what part to take in what movie.
Do you think she should be in a romance, like a rom com?
No, I think she should be in a good movie that's got a lot of famous actors in it. That's probably going to be a critic's darling, and play a small role where she can just sort of not have her acting chops tested too much. Be have little enough to do and few enough opportunities to fuck up that they can do sort of multiple takes and get good ones without having to spend too much time on her parts, and then let herself kind of get noticed in that capacity. She shouldn't start with a Taylor Swift vehicle that's just about it's a love story with a meet cute about uh, a lady who owns a cheese shop in Lower Manhattan and a man who works in finance but whose real dream is to participate in the America's Cup yachting race. No, I don't think that's a good idea.
I know, you're looking at me like, why that idea, Mom? I know, it's wrong. It was wrong for Taylor. What you have said is more right for her. It's true.
Yeah. Like, can you imagine her playing one of the smaller roles in, like, Knives Out? That would have been a smart move. But maybe I'll come up with a movie idea for her to play a role in. It gives her a little bit more of a dominant, a little bit more screen time, you know. I'm thinking she plays the daughter of a taxidermist who's living as an ad executive in Chicago when her father suddenly passes away, and she has to travel back home to help take over the taxidermy business. At first, she's planning on just closing it up and wrapping up the affairs, but then she realizes how important this taxidermy business is to her community. She remembers the art of taxidermy that she learned as a young girl. It's all coming back to her. We see it as she's working with the animal heads and stuff. These flashbacks to her childhood of her father putting his big hands over the little girl's hands and showing her how to put eyeballs into a grizzly skull. And in the end, of course, you know, who's there in the town where her dad died and she learned taxidermy, who's also there in the town. That's right, her high school boyfriend, who now works as a sheriff's deputy for the sheriff's department, of course. And anyway, her taxidermy shop is subjected to some vandalism by some teens after the high school team wins the big game in the local football contest. So accordingly, Taylor calls the cops and they say, well, not a lot we can do. And she's like, well, it's all right. I've got insurance. We got insurance, you know. And then the sheriff says, say, would you like to go out to dinner with me sometime? And they agree to do that. But before the dinner, what happens? There's a brick through the taxidermy store window. She thinks it's those darn high school kids again, rushes out, but it's not. Not only is there a brick, there's a note attached to it. Close your taxidermy business and leave town now. Well, it turns out that the big corporate taxidermy company has come in and is trying to set up shop in town, and you know, as an attachment to the Walmart, and they're trying to drive out the competition so they and their corporate wage slaves can push out authentic down home American small business from the very communities in which they inhabit. Anyhow, with the help of her sheriff, who partway through becomes the boyfriend, Taylor Swift, using the taxidermy skills she learned from her father. They turn out to be critical in solving the crime, which is the murder of her mother committed by the big taxidermy corporation, eBay. And anyway, it turns out actually, let me correct myself that what happens is Taylor Swift's character, she's writing a newsletter about taxidermy. And taxidermy.com, the big taxidermy company, they really want to silence her in a newsletter. But their investigators take it too far and kill her mother. You remember her father's already dead. Well, it turns out that her taxidermy skills are critical in solving the case. And with the help of her soon-to-be boyfriend, Deputy Steve, um, the culprits are arrested. Taxidermy.com is brought down, and Taylor's taxidermy store, which was going under, is saved by a big settlement against Taxidermy.com's parent company, eBay. The end. Yes, I would like a drink. Thank you.
What would you like?
I would like maybe that. Maybe an athletic. So I hope you appreciated that hurriedly rendered, completely plotted out movie as a vehicle for Taylor Swift. It's half Hallmark movie, half Murder She Wrote, but with taxidermy instead of writing.
Hallmark movie's gonna make a Hallmark movie about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce.
Well, I feel confident that I could pitch that storyline I just said to Hallmark Channel or something. And they'd say, wow, that sounds good to me. You know? Doesn't that sound like a perfectly corporately made like vehicle for Taylor Swift?
Oh yeah.
Like she notices something at the crime scene. Deputy, I'm sorry. Eyes don't look like that till after a critter's been done dead 3-4 days. And you know, some people will critique her for her overwrought and stereotypical Southern accent. Which will say, well, I'm from Pennsylvania and I did my best. And everyone will go, aw.
That's totally how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you know Taylor so well.
I think they should do a live action version of Goldilocks and the Three Bears, starring Britney Spears as Goldilocks, Taylor Swift as one of the bears, Selena Gomez as the other bear, and who's that other famous lady that they're kind of friends with? Oh, you know what? We can put Patrick Mahomes' wife in there.
Yeah. Male audience like that.
And basically, the movie goes like this. Brittany goes into the house where those other three ladies are. And they're sitting down to eat porridge. And she's like, oh my god, I'm at the porridge. And she tries it, oh! And it's so hot. I better take my top off. And then, you know, Patrick Mahomes' wife says, is that Britney Spears? And, you know, Taylor and Selena kind of sigh. And Brittany's like, I love your porridge. She's just like licking the ball like that. The second one. Selena Gomez throws her fork down. I was like, well, I'm not eating any more of that. And she goes over to Taylor's throat. She's like, oh my god, Taylor, I love your stuff so much. I'm such a big fan. And then Taylor's like, well, could you get your hand out of my porridge, please? Anyway, before long, Brittany's butt naked, taking selfies with each of the three bears, you know. And then they ban her temporarily from their house. Well, I'm anticipating it being a fairly early night time. I need a good night's sleep. You have anything we're supposed to do tomorrow?
I don't think so.
I just need to maybe deal with the gravel a little bit. And then maybe try to sleep my little bottom off. You know, try to have a sleepy weekend. Too.
We'll have football to watch, right? What's today?
Today's Friday. Tomorrow or Saturday there's no football game on, but Sunday there are 2 football games on.
On Sunday there is?
Mm-hmm. 2 what the conference championship games? Niners versus Detroit. Ravens versus whoever beat the Bills. Tampa Bay?
Chiefs.
Chiefs. Yeah. Ravens versus Chiefs. Niners versus Detroit. I suspect that the Niners are favored more over Detroit than the Ravens are over the Chiefs, but I bet the Niners and the Ravens are both favored. However, I will recount the wise words of that boy Klaus. Don't bet against Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. It's true, Mahomes has a long history of playoff success. Well, it's good to eat this food. It helps me feel as though I'm taking care of my SI.
Do you feel like you're in, well, actually, do you feel like you're in a Long Island bagel shop where they have salads and one of them is olives and you get a bagel with cream cheese.
I've never been in such a shop, but to hear you describe it now, yes.
Cool.
This isn't going to be an especially long stream, but look up. This is sort of a getting ready for bed, tired of watching TV. Feel like checking in with the peeps and or the purse is short for persons. So as I mentioned, a little stressed about this whole house thing, what the septic tank is gonna end up, what that inspection is gonna end up revealing. How much of a problem there is with it or whatever. I'm also worried about that foundation crack. And I don't know how much I should be worried about it exactly. The floors are all level. It doesn't seem to be, the house doesn't seem to be shifting at all, but I like
Under lots of use though, you know, it might not be used that much now, so you can't tell well if it you know, not there's not enough like happening for it to shift.
well, the thing I was thinking also is I'd like to get maybe an estimate on getting that crack repaired, which might also give us some more information about the foundation, but I'm not sure like what they're gonna say about that. Like, does it comprise an extra uncontracted inspection or what, you know? Like, are they gonna object to it? I mean, I just want to get an estimate on the crack repair because it seems like that's something we should repair as soon as we own the home. It seems like it's comparatively easy to repair because you can get to both sides of it no problem because of the ease to get under the house. Oh, you tripping, junky shaky hands. Me? I don't have junky shaky hands. My hands are still like the waters of Lake Erie. Still like the spirit of nature upon the night.
You're my spirit of nature upon the night.
Thanks, darling.
You're welcome.
I guess that makes you my spirit of civilization upon the day.
I hope so.
That would be the corollary.
I want to be your corollary.
You are the daytime to my night. Whoa. You are the civilization to my nature. Ooh, you tripping. No? No, I don't have junky shaky hands. I don't feel shaky at all. I feel shakeless. I feel as shakeless as a entirely stationary thing. Yes, detective work, my favorite. Well, anyway, obviously, not a lot going on in chat. Stark contrast from earlier where I could not even keep up with it. There was so much going on in chat, which is a pleasant change of pace. I am going to now look at various things to tell you about on the internet because you guys aren't prompting me with sufficient things to interest me. So, I will have to find my own interesting thing. For example, winter's not over yet. Okay, so keep that in mind. If you thought winter was over, it's not. Ancient lake forms during Ice Age, reappears in Death Valley. Rare site is fading fast. Yeah, Death Valley doesn't get a lot of standing water, I'll tell you that. Good night. I'll be there before too long.
Sure, take your time.
The moon is shrinking, and it could affect future NASA missions. Oh no, shrinking moon syndrome. Before long, the moon will be gone. White House calls explicit AI generated Taylor Swift images alarming, urges Congress to act. Okay, let's all freak out about nothing. The jig is up. NSA is buying your browser history, says U.S. Senator. They can have my browser history. I am absolutely Japanese. Ukrainian-born model sparks debate by winning Miss Japan pageant. 5 modern comic books that are valuable solely due to their covers. A roaring tailwind just hurled a passenger plane at 826 miles per hour. Let's find out more. How to get rid of stink bugs. Robot dinosaur tests surprising theory about the evolution of feathers. Let's see here. Migraines can be predicted by these 2 things. Study shows. What are they? Having your head hurt a lot. Having it hurt a lot. Average IQ is 100. What's yours? Answer 20 multiple choice questions to find out. The emergence of JN1 is an evolutionary step change in the COVID pandemic. Okay. You can't expect me to take you seriously anymore, COVID alarmists. Not that I ever did. I moved from NYC to live in a Hawaiian penthouse with 19 strangers. Co-living helped me with 19 strangers in one penthouse? What were you, like, Laotian boat people? Girl, 17, diagnosed with stage 4 cancer after doctors said her back pain was a pulled muscle. Well, our doctors were wrong. It was a little worse than that. The next generation Life Telescope could detect some intriguing biosignatures. Earth's earliest creatures dated from Welsh rocks. Marijuana could make you a nicer person, research finds. Let's test this theory. You guys are so cool. I like you so much. It's true. Photos show the Iranian missile parts U.S. Navy SEALs seized in a deadly nighttime raid. The biggest great white ever spotted off Georgia's coastline. Well, let's check it out. Let's check it out. Let's give it a chance. We don't know it's boring yet. 17 fairy tales that are now considered racist. Okay, I'll bite. I'll bite. Let's find out which fairy tales are racist. I definitely need an article to tell me that. Gravitational waves create a cosmic symphony that scientists are tuning into. Oh, what poetic language for your very dry science stuff. Prehistoric chewing gum reveals diet oral health of Stone Age teenagers. Wow. Good for them. Chewing gum. Just like modern teenagers today. The more things change, the more they say the same. Conspiracy theorists go wild over Russian plane crash carrying Ukrainian soldiers. Wow. I love it when conspiracy theorists go wild. The 12 most gorgeous places to stargaze in the United States. Let's see if we're near one. Makes me curious, you know. Maybe we might be. Probably not so much, but maybe. Monkey Man's new trailer feels like a warning shot fired at John Wick. Huh. I wonder what that means. Maybe we were wrong about the SAT. Well, what was our position about it exactly? Mysterious new star that puffs out clouds of gas discovered in the middle of our galaxy. Psychologist identified reason for our eternal search for meaning in life. It's, so we can figure out what to do. That's why. A roaring tailwind just hurled a passenger at 826 miles per hour. So this potentially broke China Airlines Flight 5116 potentially broke informal records for passenger travel. The commercial flight, which departed from Taipei, landed more than an hour early in Los Angeles, propelled by exceptionally strong tailwinds. A roaring Pacific jet stream, supercharged by the El Nino, moving at more than 250 miles an hour, gave the flight a boost. Official records for commercial flight speeds aren't kept, but in a recent article in Simple Flying, said a British Air Boeing 747 flying near Greenland set a record when it reached 825 miles per hour in February 2020. This one, of course, hit 826, 1 mile per hour faster than that. A lot of super fast flights Thursday and Friday. One A819, A817, A814, A812, all of that's considered very fast for a passenger jet. So, okay, good. Good story. Good, interesting stuff. We all enjoyed it. We all appreciate it. Turns out that the two things that can really predict migraines are what? Where are these two things? Sleep quality and energy on the previous day. So, both sleep quality and energy of the previous day were important indicators of a migraine attack on the following day. So, bad sleep and low energy the previous day, I guess, increase in energy and greater than average stress the previous day combined with poor sleep the previous day, that causes a migraine. All right, now let's see about these Welsh rocks. Welsh rocks have revealed details about some of Earth's earliest creatures. Fossils first discovered in Carmarthenshire in the 1970s revealed traces of organisms that have now been dated to 565 million years ago. The ancient disc-shaped invertebrates probably lived in shallow waters along the coast of volcanic islands. Researchers say the organisms, too primitive to be described as animals, are completely unlike any other forms of life. Well, now they have a breakthrough. It's dated these fossils 564 million years ago, plus or minus 700,000 million years. 700,000 years. We just don't know what they are. They're completely unlike other forms of life. Okay. Not much information in that article. The greatest, the biggest great white ever spotted off Georgia's coastline. Let's see. The largest ever great white shark found off Georgia's coast measured 13 feet long. A 13-foot male shark found off the coast of Tybee Island, Georgia, weighing 1,500 pounds. That's pretty big. Good for them. Good for Georgia, good for the shark, good for everybody. 17 fairy tales that are now considered racist. Let's find out what they are. Aladdin and the Wonderful Lamp. Cinderella. Cinderella's racist? I see it says, this story has been said to emphasize the princess's fairness as the ideal form of beauty. This is especially true in some versions. Inadvertently, this reduces the appreciation for diverse beauty standards. How racist. Peter Pan. Native Americans are not portrayed properly in Peter Pan, ergo, it is racist. The Little Mermaid. In some versions of this story, the social hierarchy of the sea characters subtly reflects real-life societal racial structures, with some sea creatures being deemed lesser due to their appearances. That's racist. That's fish racist. I can't say that some fish are better than other fish. They're all the same, even the shitty ones. Hansel and Gretel's racist? Ah, Its portrayal of the witch and the Romani people reflect negative stereotypes that are still present in modern day Europe. In other words, it's not gypsy friendly. Rumpelstiltskin. Rumpelstiltskin and the trickery he used to steal a child before receiving his consequences. However, the tale's themes of cunning and greed, when linked with the antagonist's portrayal, reflects biases prevalent against Jews in medieval Europe. What? I don't ever remember any story that said Rumpelstiltskin was Jewish. He was always like a, an elf or something, wasn't he? Like some kind of magical creature? I don't know. Snow White is racist because her white skin is often highlighted as beautiful. You can't have beautiful white skin without being racist. Important lesson here, friends. Now we've got the Seven Chinese Brothers. This story has made criticism due to the fact that it glosses over the rich Chinese culture. It also implies that all Chinese people look alike, pushing a narrative that is both untrue and harmful. Really? I've never heard of this story. Tintin in the Congo. Never heard of this story. Paints the people of African cultures as naive and simple-minded while showing Tintin as a superior white person from Western civilization. How racist! Babar the Little Elephant. Another story that starts to reiterate colonial views subtly. This tells the story of Babar, who returns to the jungle, bringing with him his European customs, clothing, and governance, implying that they are superior to his culture. Well, I've always said that elephants need to wear more clothes. The story of Little Black Sambo. Okay, well. The story was well received at the time of publication, but now we can look back and reflect. We see the names and depictions present South Indians in a demeaning light, serving to reiterate colonial views. Damn those colonialists! Their horrible ways. Puss in Boots. One fairy tale that presently has hidden racist implications is that of Puss in Boots. In this story, the ogre is shown to be barbaric, showing the idea that Europeans had of people that came from other cultures and lands. So hold on a second. A bad guy that's an ogre, a magical creature, in the story of Puss in Boots is racist because it represents the other. You've got to be fucking kidding me. Ali Baba and the 40 Thieves. The idea that Middle Eastern people steal shit is racist. Okay. Rapunzel having long hair is super racist. Rapunzel's racist against Mexicans because Mexicans have to climb walls to get into America. Rapunzel's hair is how they climb up the wall. Then it's like bad because Mexicans are getting on the white girl. That's why they throw him to his death from the tower. And Rapunzel said, "You need to stop letting people climb up your hair." Racistly. Okay, so again, the first thing that comes to mind when Rapunzel is mentioned her long golden hair. Many critics state that Rapunzel promotes a Eurocentric beauty standard, implying that only Western people could aspire to be as beautiful. So, is it not okay to have any blonde-haired person in a story have their hair described as beautiful? Should we say, her ugly, ugly blonde hair was so ugly and so long that she tied it into a rope and let people climb up it? Because why the hell not? It's such hideous hair. That's fucking insane. This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. The Princess and the Pea. The tale of the Princess and the Pea tells the story of a young princess facing a test. However, due to its focus on a European standard of nobility, it unintentionally devalues other cultural norms of royalty? Are you fucking kidding me? This has got to be a joke, right? So, because it's reflective of European ideas about royalty, that which is it's insulting to them because the chick is so prissy because she's royalty that she can't sleep on a pea, even if it's like 100 pillows beneath her or whatever. That's racist because she's not part of Chinese royalty. I mean, what? That's just insane. The emperor's new clothes is racist. In the story of the emperor's new clothes, the emperor is mocked when wearing non European clothing in front of other people. This subtly pushes the idea that Eurocentric fashion is superior, reducing cultural diversity. Boy, anything goes when making these ridiculous arguments, huh? Anything at all. That's just ridiculous. The 12 most gorgeous places to look at the night sky. Acadia National Park. It's in Maine. Big Bend National Park in Texas. Cherry Springs State Park in Pennsylvania. Voyageurs National Park in Minnesota. Great Basin National Park in Nevada. Badlands National Park in South Dakota. Kissimmee Prairie Preserve State Park in Florida. Crater Lake National Park in Oregon. Redwood National Park in California. Dinosaur National Monument in Colorado and Utah. Lassen Volcanic National Park in California. Petrified Forest National Park in Arizona. Those are the best places to look at stars. You're welcome. Psychologists identified reason for our eternal search for meaning in life. Why do we constantly seek the meaning of life? Often we look for our lives in grand things and achievements in our dreams, yet when we don't reach them, we begin to think that we are worthless. However, these thoughts are highly mistaken. The meaning of life is found not in big things, but in the little details. We search for the meaning of life because we engage in things we don't want to do. When a person does what they enjoy, something that brings them joy, satisfaction, where they can express themselves, they don't ponder on the meaning of life. That's not true. This is complete garbage. I like the idea that there's a search for the meaning of life because we engage in things we don't want to do at first glance, but that's absolutely not true because one of the things I want to do is search for meaning, the meaning of life and meaning in life. This guy's just projecting his own bullshit. All right, let's check the weather. We're looking like a rain-free week is heading towards us, but we're showing actually we're showing rain this week on Thursday, Friday, and again on Sunday. So take that back. No, I'm live again. I'm not still live. Anyway, I'm not going to be live a ton longer. I'm going to pull a couple bong rips. I might smoke a cigarette outside. I want to drink this drink. And then I'll come in and wrap up the evening review. Earlier we had a big stream with a long time and a lot of stuff going on, a lot of chat going on. This is the evening review. It's a more relaxed atmosphere. We're just chilling. We're just reading things from the news. So, I guess I'm probably going to do that. I'm probably going to have somebody come out and give me an estimate on repairing that crack. And in the process, they say, like, ooh, that doesn't look good, then I might we might pull out or something, I'm not sure, but I just want to feel more confident that I'm not getting a money pit, Yeah, social media makes an excellent point. Sometimes it lasts in love, but sometimes it hurts instead. Meow, 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 meow. So, anyway, it's just me and show media here, Rachel maybe as well. We're just chilling, winding down for the evening, smoking a cigarette, and that's fine. Because someday, 1,000 years from now, when humanity is in the 2nd century of scouring over all the content that I left behind, as they finally come to their senses, along with, show media and Rachel and me who are here, and recognize that we need to listen to this guy with great deal of attention. He's saying amazing things. He was a full 1,000 years ahead of the curve. It took us 1,000 years to recognize that instead of 3 people listening to him right now, it should be 3 billion people. Go ahead, darling. Why am I coming in here, you may ask?
I do ask.
Because I'm looking for a hat.
Oh, there's a hat. There's two hats in there.
It's a little chilly outside without a hat. And I could even, I don't think I would be too hot if I would also put this jacket on. Top of this other jacket even.
You want to be warm when you're outside.
Well, you don't want to be cold. Let's put it that way. Right. So, okay. Lights out.
Lights out.
Pew. You're welcome. Okay, so now we're going to go outside. Because I know where the cold wind blows. I asked my friend, but nobody knows. Who am I to believe in love? Love ain't no stranger. Hi, Bubbles. Bubbles the meowing cat. Okay, let's go outside. So, life can be a funny thing. Sometimes you have small piles of meow meow and meow, or at least what appear to be such. And maybe you feel meow about meow. And maybe you feel meow about meow, but meow about meow. Well, that's when you just have to say, this is too complicated to deal with in terms of feeling anything other than second guessy, right? It's hard not to be second guessy when you're dealing with a large purchase that seems to be priced under market value a little bit to me. You worry when something seems to be too good to be true. Not that it's some kind of spectacularly good deal, but I'd expect to see it at 310, at least 300. Maybe I wouldn't have been surprised if they were asking 350 for it, instead of 275. But you know, that's why we have a bit of an escrow time period, 21 days, and we just opened escrow. I plan on Monday to, well, I can research possible people to call even before then, but I want to get an estimate on fixing that crack before escrow closes, so I have both a set of independent eyes looking at the crack and telling me, yeah, it's not that big of a deal. Maybe, yeah, it should be fixed, but I wouldn't worry about it. There are these other structural support points that make it irrelevant or whatever, or something more concerning than that, right? So that's the nice thing about escrow. Is you have a chance to catch any bullshit that might be in the mix, and while I don't really want to spend the money on a lot of unnecessary inspections, they're just going to tell me, yeah, it's fine. This is significant enough that I want to double check. So I'm also very curious to see what the septic report says, since the guy went out of his way to say he wasn't going to pay expenses over him. Yeah, for septic. There's like some action going on in the neighbors a little bit with some dogs. They've got a great dog. I love their dog. Their dog doesn't bark and cause problems at all. It's just so she's a real sweet dog too. In contrast, I don't have a dog. Sometimes I kind of wish I did, but um, I mean, trouble is like having a dog in terms of responsibility to pay attention to him, you know, play with him or something. Except instead of playing with you, he wants you to just watch him eat and give him a certain amount of attention. Go open the door for you rather than using the cat door that he could use by himself. He has no problem inconveniencing me because it seems like to him, oh, you're engaging me with me. It's reassuring to me about the solidity of our relationship or something. Reading that one thing about anxious versus detached attachment styles, or whatever they called the opposite of anxious between pets and pet owners, was highly informative. The reason Rachel and I are both annoyed by trouble is that we both want to have an independent kind of attachment style like Pio offers. She's not needy at all. She'll come around periodically and say like, "Hey, how you doing? It's been a while." She's a pretty self-sufficient cat, but she's also very sweet. Uh, in contrast, trouble like Kapia's kind of never in the way. Trouble is kind of always in the way. Like, where is he right now? In the way, right in the middle of the pathway, so that I have to walk around him. I didn't know that when I said Troll's kind of always in the way, that as soon as I opened the door, he was going to be in the way, but that's trouble for you. Regrets, I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention. Is that Frank Sinatra song? Well, meow, meow. I think I'm going to end this stream and I'm going to do a little bit of work I need to do, which is say, I need to do a little digging in the Crunchyroll back catalog to try to find a series that I can start watching. It'll grab me and get me like, oh, I want to watch this whole thing. I need to find one of those. I feel this hole in my life with anime that I can only watch one episode a week. I don't like watching it like that. It's good. I want to keep watching it. Anyhow, yeah, but I read it wrong. I did read it wrong. I read it as the song says it. So, anyway, I bid you all a very good night and hope you sleep well and dream of pleasant things like, I don't know, ice cream and winning an Academy Award.